Hey, how's it going, guys? I'm just going to do a review on these Midland radios, and I honestly want to say that these are the best radios that I've ever owned. So, take a look. Here they are. So before we go over the technical aspects and why I want to go personally over why I like them so much. So, what you're going to notice right away is that it has this cradle that I showed, right? So, you can take them out. It's kind of pretty much what you get in that's making a point of contact. The charger on the back. Okay, so look at this. There they are, right? Okay, now this is the adapter that comes with it to charge it. Standard, look at that. You see that? That's what you use to charge your cell phones, right? And any Droid phone. And then on the other side, you have your 110, which is a regular USB cable. Micro to USB. See that? It actually unplugs. So, what does that mean? What that means is either one, you can plug this in on the back side of the cradle and plug this in to 110, any electrical outlet, or two, you can unplug this and plug this into your USB adapter that you charge your cell phone with in any car. Or let's say you don't want it, let's say one's already charged, or you don't want to keep this big giant base in your car. Fine. Guess what? On the side of the actual radio itself, it has the input right there. So now you can plug this end to that. You have your standard USB on this end. You plug that into your cigarette lighter, and you can charge them individually. That's awesome. So, just the fact that you can charge this pretty much anywhere. You can charge it in your car. You can charge it at home. You don't need any kind of special adapters. It's not some proprietary cable that's made from them. So if the cable goes bad, you can walk in anywhere, Walgreens, Walmart, anywhere, literally, and buy a recharger. Sometimes you buy these, any kind of electrical device, and you lose the charger, and the charger itself could cost half the cost of the device. So what do? You toss it out, buy a new one. So this is really awesome. Just the fact that you can charge it like that, to me, is worth its weight in gold. Wow. Because, if you're using these a lot, and you wear down the battery, you can quickly recharge them. And they actually charge pretty fast as well, and they will stop themselves from overcharging. They will not overcharge. Once they reach a full charge, they'll stop, and it'll read right on the LCD there, full. So that's really good. So let me go over the technical aspects of these radios, and then I will kind of go into a little more details and things that I've used them in practical use. So it's the Midland X-TALKER. They claim that it has clear reception, clear transmission, over 15 hours talk time, and 38-mile range, 36 channels, and 121 privacy codes, a channel scan, and the legendary weather alert scan technology. So obviously you can use the 36 different channels to talk from different walkie talkies, and the good thing is it's not any proprietary channels. It's regular 36 channels that any other walkie talkies too. So if you have another set of walkies, you can still use it. The 121 privacy codes, the same thing. If you set that privacy code, you could set it for another one. The channel scan is really awesome because you can actually scan you can use it as a scanner, and you can actually pick up ham radio frequencies. So if someone is using a ham radio, you can actually communicate with the ham radio with this. That sounds nuts. Yeah, but yes, and I can actually do a video later with a Bufang radio and communicate back and forth. I've even been able to listen to local repeaters with this. Obviously, you can't program the privacy codes to talk back to the repeaters, but you can listen to local repeaters. Someone who's just using this as a regular walkie-talkie, I kind of probably went over your head because it's using it for ham features. But someone who's using for has a ham radio, this is kind of like a second backdoor that you could listen to repeaters and stuff. But could also program it to talk to another ham radio. So back to just the walkie-talkie aspect. It says 38-mile range. Well, that's probably in a perfect conditions, with no trees or anything in your way. So realistically, what type of range have I gotten out of these? I'd say average is about 5 miles, but I have got up to 10 miles range with the walkie-talkie. So That's pretty insane for a walkie-talkie. So one thing you do have to be aware of, if you read the actual fine print on these walkies, it actually says maximum range can be achieved over water or rural areas under optimal conditions. FCC license required. Features and specifications subject to change without notice. So what that's telling you is that technically that this is more or less like operating a ham radio, and that you're supposed to have a ham radio license to operate it on the high frequency, on the high output. Okay. If you're using these as walkies, could you technically get in trouble if you don't have a ham radio license? Yes. But is the FCC really chasing down guys who are using this in their backyards with their kids or something like that? No. I mean, hey, I'm not a lawyer, and I'm not taking responsibilities of your legal fees if you get caught. I'm just saying, yeah, people jaywalking, they don't get jaywalk tickets out every single day. You know what I mean? So do what you want, but I'm just putting out there that technically you're supposed to have them if ham radio license if you are using it in a high range. So it has 121 privacy codes, so you can set it up if you didn't want other people being able to talk to you. Now keep in mind, when using those privacy codes, if you are using those privacy codes, other people can hear you. You just can't hear them. So, when you're talking walkie to walkie, basically what you're doing is you're blocking out other people from inconveniently bothering you. But that doesn't mean that your actual conversation is private per se. Let's see. So it does actually have an option so that you can listen to the weather, which is pretty cool. So let me just turn it on really quick here. Okay. So it actually, you see the WX button, it's right there. If you press and hold that button, okay, and it has 10 different channels for the weather. So if it sounds kind of cruddy, you can actually use this button here. Okay, now that sounds a lot better.
For Monday night, partly cloudy. Lows in the upper 30s.
Okay, another option, if you actually click on this menu,
for Tuesday, partly
you see how it says the alarm? If you change that to on,
Tuesday night, mostly cloudy with 20% chance of light showers. Lows in the mid-40s for Wednesday, light rain likely.
If you change that to on, now what happens? You see that little tiny icon there in the top? So if you're using it as a standard, I'm going to get out of here. I'm just going to hit call. That's going to exit me out of here. But notice that stayed in the top there, that little weather. So now what you did is you just enabled the weather band. So if you're out camping or you're out doing something, you enabled the weather band. And what that's going to happen is when you're using this as a standard walkie-talkie, phenomenal. Hey, it's working like a standard walkie-talkie. But if for some reason there's any weather near that would be of concern, it will literally interrupt the conversation or play over it. It's loud. So that's really nice. If you're a contractor, you're doing outside work, that you should be aware of thunderstorms or any kind of storms, or if you're camping or anything, you really should be aware of weather other than just, standard walkie-talkie. By enabling that, other than just going to that, you can kind of have it running in the background. So that's really cool. The other thing is that it has a scan feature. So you can actually just press the scan button, which is right here. It's actually going to start scanning through those channels. So you'll pick up anyone that's near you. If you're using a ham radio, it's going to pick up the standard frequency ranges that walkie-talkies and ham radios kind of blend or mesh together. So on channel 15, for instance, on this particular radio, I'm able to pick up a local repeater. So a couple different local repeaters I'm able to pick up with this radio. Obviously, I can't communicate back because I can't communicate some of the settings, so I can talk to the repeater, but I can hear it. So that's kind of cool. So again, if you're using this just for a walkie-talkie, those features may not pertain to you. You wouldn't actually use those. So it does have a call feature. So if you press the call, it would make an audible tone that the other person in the radio would hear from you. Let's see. It does have on the side a speaker and a mic option, so that you could plug in some type of ear adapters if you want to go around your neck. They have a throat mic. So those are up to you if you want to use it as just handheld, or if you want to plug in mic and earbuds, that's up to you. the real reason that I like the radio is the range. You know, like I said, I've never had a problem with reception, especially when you're obviously close. Another thing is that during constructions or doing some things, sometimes we're talking through multiple floors. You know, I could be on the first and somebody else is on the fifth floor, and we're talking through these buildings and rough construction, and I've had no problems. The other thing is that I buy walkie-talkies frequently for my company, and unfortunately my employees use and abuse them. Well, they should use them, right? But sometimes because they're not the ones paying for them, they don't take as great as care of them as they should. So I go through a lot, and they just break them, you know. So I spent the money on these, and the reason I say it was worth it is because as much as they use and abuse them, the antennas haven't broke. And that's the one thing that allows it. If you drop them, you know, since it's a fixed antenna, they break off. And, you know, and I haven't had a problem, you know, with these, with the antennas breaking, or even with them getting wet out in the rain, you know, because rain, shine, or snow, we're working. So if they're getting soaked and poured on in the rain, they still work fine. I've hadn't had a problem, and dropped in the dirt, or, you know, no problems at all. You know, they may get a little cruddy, and sometimes I take an actual toothbrush and clean them up a little. But, you know, they take a beating and keep on rocking, so I can't complain about that at all. So why would I say to buy these? I would say to buy these because the range. You know, if you have to talk through a building, because that's a big problem. You know, sometimes, you know, these radios, they claim that they can, you know, talk 25 miles or this or that, and that's kind of like in perfect conditions. So realistically, it might be a mile. So the fact that I've been able to talk up to a 10-mile range, and realistically 5 miles without any problems. Once you kind of go over 5 miles, if there is things in the way, you can still hear them. It just sounds staticky or fuzzy, you know. So I've been up to 10 miles away. And the other thing is the battery life, really long. Like I said, they say that, you know, it has, what does it say, 15 hours talk time. You know, so it's up to 15-hour talk time. Now keep in mind that it's if you're on high or low range. Because if you're on the high, obviously it's putting a higher output, it is going to use more of the battery. So I have had used the batteries in a, you know, normal day, 8 to 10 hours, and they haven't died. So I honestly couldn't say that we use them more than 8 to 10 hours a day, because, you know, there's downtime and stuff. You're not on the radio that often. I mean, your whole 8-hour day, you couldn't say you talked 8 hours, you know, or 10, 15-hour day, you couldn't say that you're on the radio the whole time. But what I can say is during that let's say 8 to 15-hour shift, the battery hasn't died, and they're obviously using it all day long. So that helps a lot. The weather band enabled thing, you know, that's actually really good, you know, for different type of people. The fact that because it's so strong, that you could actually talk through buildings, because, you know, the interference is your worst enemy. The clip is really strong. I've had other radios that the guys have actually lost them, and because, you know, they're clipping it on their belt, or they're clipping it on something, and this actually breaks, or it comes off easy, and they fall and they drop it and they don't realize it, and then they go use the radio and like, oh, shh, I lost it, you know, and then what are you gonna say, you know? So that's really good. So I would say buy it. You know, I would say this is probably the best radio I've ever owned, and like I said, I've bought probably 30 or 40 different sets of radios, and this is the only radio that I thought was worth my time doing a review and honestly suggesting that you should purchase it. The fact that you can charge it in your car, in your home, that you can buy any type of adapters for it, you know. And the cool thing is that for my phone, my Samsung phone, I actually have a rapid charger, you know, so for my car and for my home. So there's been times when we've used these all day long, and guess what? Somebody forgot to charge it. So it's like, oh, dude, your radio's dead, really? So we threw it on a rapid charger that's actually made for my phone, and 10-15 minutes later, the radio's charged. It's probably not a good idea to do it all the time, because anytime you're rapid charging something, you know, obviously you're supposedly lessen the lifespan of the battery. But that rapid charger came with my phone, so I don't know. I'm not a engineer, electronical engineer. I'm a TCOM major, so maybe somebody else can argue that fact for me. But that really comes in handy. So yeah, I say buy it. You know, and I think it's great for, you know, for home, farm use. If you're using it for commercial use, you kind of have to watch out for the whole thing if they catch you, I guess. Not having the ham radio license. But other than that, you know, hey, awesome walkie-talkie. So good luck. If you liked my video, you know, please like, leave comments, share. God bless. Thank you. Bye.